Happy Easter, everyone, and welcome to episode
Yes, this is
35 of Joe and Matty Talk New York Sports. And a lot of the same today, but
a lot of the same old stuff. Yes, the Knicks are done and buried. I still don't feel like talking about them yet. Why we have other interesting stuff going around. Rangers. I know I got a lot of frantic texts at midnight last night, so we'll get into not only the Rangers but the Carolina Hurricane situation. Giants, same as usual. Yankees. We just watched them live lose to the Orioles. Pathetic. Where do you want to start? The good or the bad?
definitely with the Yankees. Get
All
them
right,
out of the way.
let's get with the Yankees. Do you want to start with today's game or just in general?
I think just in general, they're just like they look like they've made that change on the pitching side, even though the pitching just
what is old man Farina going to tell you?
Well,
10 games in, it doesn't matter. Nothing.
Yeah, but I mean,
right
look at how they've even last year. It was even as early as 10 games that they.
Yeah, but you have 10-game streaks in the middle of the season that things go off the wire. It's just such a small sample.
Their offense, and I know it's like you said, it's just 10 games in. It's just like they're.
I thought Donaldson,
absent. Like it's
Donaldson looked like he's waking up. Yeah, I know it is, but
you know what though? But Donaldson, I like Josh Donaldson as a whole. I like the move. I've had a serious problem with how he started the season. I mean, it's not that he's not a good hitter, but he is the only times he strikes out is because he's swinging pitches out of the zone.
Yeah, but they haven't been able to practice against major league pitching in months. Every season, the hitters come out and they're at a disadvantage. Let's wait till we get a month of the season for any person. The only person that just scares me right out of the gate is if everyone hears Marshall scaring the neighborhood. But Captain Strikeout in left field is Joey Gallo. What the heck, man? I mean, I have no optimism or hope with him. Like, I don't see Josh Donaldson, I feel like is going to go on tears. He'll go on some bad streaks, but he'll be hot. LeMahieu looks great coming out of the gate. He looks healthy.
I think this team lives and dies by the home run.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you can't. And I have a serious problem with how Judge and Stanton, but more of how Judge and the top half of that lineup have started this season. I mean, I get the spring training stuff, but the strikeouts are ridiculous. I mean,
that's the Yankees team now. They're just million strikeouts. That's the Joey Gallo model.
It's crazy. I mean,
it's horrible to watch.
Today the Yankees faced some guy named Bruce Zimmerman or something. He's a left-handed pitcher who his top fastball, I don't think it goes above 93 or 94.
No, yeah. And he wasn't great with the fastball.
The Yankees should be built to absolutely destroy a left-handed finesse arm with no speed on his pitches. Yet it's like you see Stanton flailing at pitches and then looking at one right down the middle of the plate.
The guy must have been doing something right.
I don't like their offense. It's just so plain to start off the year, and I get it. It's 10 games. But it's ridiculous. I mean, we can say it's 10 games, but look at half the league. I mean,
they were in first
Miguel
place.
Cabrera's off to a better start than half the Yankees lineup.
Yeah, but you can't compare one person to one situation. 10 games in, I'm going to say no panic button. This is who the Yankees have been the last couple of years under Cashman. Strike out a ton. They usually clobber a team like the Orioles.
That's what I'm saying, but they're a little more clutch. This is, to me,
but it's 10 games.
This is, to me, the team that was last year and the shortened season before. There's no clutch element. I mean, you look today.
But how could you? Like, it's too soon. It's honestly too soon.
Runners at the corners, 1 out.
Yeah.
Kiner Falefa grounds into a double play. Hicks, bases loaded the other day, 1 out, grounds into a double play. Hicks had a runner at third twice in the third game against Boston with less than 2 outs. Run didn't score. I mean, if I was hitting, I would never. Every time there was a runner at third with less than 2 outs, he would score every single time. You have to change. You can't strike out. You can't. It is not popping up, striking out, and hitting a ground ball.
You know how crazy that sounds? Didn't you play baseball, right? Were you able to control exactly what you wanted to do?
No, and just keep adding to it 4-0 now.
Yeah, but because if you could do it, it wouldn't be a great game. If you could do whatever you want at any time, it would be slow pitch softball. Like you can't. It's a game.
At this point, though, yes, maybe they're not clicking on all cylinders because of spring training, but the fact of the matter that you can't even.
Are you worried that Oakland's off to a great start despite giving up all the? No.
Yeah, but they have no
baseball,
players.
reality is going to come back. Yeah, exactly. The Yankees do have players. The Yankees will end up hitting. They'll get hot. They'll clobber teams. They'll go on a win streak. The question is how consistent will be throughout the course of the year. Nestor Cortez right now looks like their best pitcher. Not winning the World, no offense to him, but you probably won't win the World Series if he's your best pitcher. So the thing is that it's Garrett Cole must dominate. Severino was great last outing, but do any of us feel like, that's going to be locked in for the whole year?
I feel like I'll be better once he gets like 5 to 10 starts.
Yeah,
like that.
That's how we'll feel about everyone. We'll either know this year's going to sink or this year's.
It's just the simple things of like you're talking about like Cortez goes, I don't know, he was pulled in the 6th, 12 strikeouts. Fantastic. But to me, it's not even that, like not even asking them to go off. You can't even score a run. Like I'm sorry, but that is not a struggling lineup still scores a run. I'm not making
excuses for baseball players, but in all the years I've been watching baseball, most of the hitters, you got to stop drinking that garbage, Arizona. All the years hitters usually start slower. The weather's colder. It's not a nice day today. It was a sunny day in Baltimore. It was cold. Give it a month, and we'll see what happens.
I just can't.
As long as they're not losing
excuse though to guys who make as much as what the Yankees are paying.
Yeah, but whatever. Like they're paying them knowing that that's what happens almost every year.
Like if we had the Orioles lineup, I'd expect that. You don't have high caliber hitters on the Orioles lineup. Rougned Odor and Cedric Mullins are probably their best 2 hitters. Cedric Mullins is the only good player on that team. I don't know. It's just I hate having expectations for my team.
Baseball's
especially when they do this. You can have expectations, but the expectations this weekend were I want to see like 18 home runs hit in 3 games and have a finally break out. And
that will happen in mid-August.
They're not even gonna score 8 in 3 games.
Speaking of hitting home runs, what do you think of the Orioles' new left field where they pushed the wall way back and raised it up to 13?
I think it's a disadvantage for them. They don't have power hitters. How are they like?
They don't have
less home runs for him.
But what's worse?
So if they don't have anything, and the Yankees can't. Like I don't know.
I think it's an advantage to them because they got clobbered so bad. I don't know what their prospects have. Like, they
still can rip it down the line though? It's still.
I know, but if you have right-handed home run hitters, like if you have a young stud who's a right-handed hitter, he's not going to want to play now that you made basically an absolute bomb to get to right or to get out to left field. So
I think it was a little ridiculous how they moved it back. I think they could have moved it a little bit back and raised that wall a little because they do lose a lot of home runs to the wall. The wall is small out there, so I
thought they overdid it.
I agree. It looks a little unauthentic. It'll take some time to get.
Yeah, and someone's going to get clobbered in that center field angle where they kind of just darted it.
They still have the vulnerable right center field though.
Here's a question. Home runs. Do you like all the stadiums having some sort of unique something about their home field that makes it stadium, or do you wish it was all standard like football, same field?
No, I like it. I like that we go to Fenway and it's like you just gotta have Stanton or Judge just lift
like it's playing wiffle ball.
Yeah, and I like that you go to Yankee Stadium.
I like it too.
Out everywhere except like left center and center, so.
No, I like the only things I don't like when it's unique is when it's very gimmicky. Like I don't remember if you remember when like the Texas Rangers put like a flagpole in the field. Like what the hell are you doing? Like,
well, that's where I was glad Houston.
Or no, was that the Astros? Was that they had the ramp?
It was like a grass ramp.
Yeah,
I was
what are you doing?
It doesn't match.
It's not an amusement park. Like I get the different lengths of walls. Like Tiger Stadium used to be cool back in the old day because you could hit it into the upper tiers. But
What stadium do you? I think Tropicana Field is by far the worst stadium in all of the MLB. I think
certainly the worst on TV. I can't think of anyone that.
I think Rogers Center is up there. I think the Blue Jays Stadium doesn't look very nice.
I liked. Look, it's not majestic when you're in it, but it's in downtown Toronto. Toronto's a beautiful city. But
it is. You think it's like? Is it nice in person?
It's not fancy in person, the stadium itself, but the location is incredible. You're in downtown
not a fan
Toronto.
Of the hotel.
You have the see, it's cool with the Space Needle over there. Like where it is, fans are very cool. People are so nice. So yes, you walk into the stadium, it feels kind of like, no frills on the inside, but like inside with the stadium open and the view of the city. Yeah, I like Toronto a lot.
We're forgetting Oakland. I think Oakland's also up there.
Oakland is a huge dump. Probably one of the worst stadiums outside to see a stadium. I think Tampa Bay would take it on the indoor stadium.
I do. You're not gonna like this. I do like Citi Field. It was very nice when we went.
No, Citi Field's really pretty stadium. Pain in the ass to get to, but nice stadium. I could actually take a boat from where I live if your dad.
It's right near LaGuardia, right? You come like right over.
Correct. Milwaukee Brewers Stadium was a real fun one.
I like the San Francisco Giants Stadium. I like Wrigley Field.
Wrigley Field was great. It was so hot in the summer to go. They even have the sprinklers.
It looks so iconic.
Yeah, one of the most underrated was the Brewers Stadium because people tailgated and had such a good time. And
I do like that.
It was in a suburban neighborhood. People were fired up. I would like to go see the Twin Stadium. I heard that's really nice.
That looks nice.
San Diego, I heard, is the best, but
I would definitely go to Petco Park. I would also go to San Francisco. I'm not a fan of the Dodgers or the Angels. I don't think they're
I would like to go to the Dodgers game just because that stadium is iconic.
That stadium's the biggest one in all of MLB.
But yeah, we'll see.
55,000, which
all arrive in the third inning and leave in the fifth inning. But
yeah, they didn't even fill up a playoff game. Like that's, I don't know. Baseball.
LA is not a good sports city.
I can't buy into the Yankees right now, even though it's early. Like,
let's not get it.
What do you think though? Like,
what do I think? My full expectation for this baseball season is the Yankees to make the playoffs and have Garrett Cole get rocked again in a playoff game and they lose in the first round.
Do you really think that this team is different than last year? I don't think so.
Only if they go find some great starting pitcher, whether it's between now and the trade deadline. Like when I look at the Mets, like Scherzer is a guy who is going to win you a game in the playoffs when you need it. They have they have two of those guys, the Mets. So like even if you're hitting sporadic when it gets to playoffs, if you could pull out granted the bullpen will kill you as well if you don't score runs, but I don't think the Yankees lineup is made to score in the playoffs. It's made to beat up bad teams.
But what I don't understand is like you look at what was successful in the past, which I
in the Yankees past or baseball
playoffs
past?
Winning. Yeah, like.
But are you saying Yankees playoffs past, or you're talking about baseball's past?
No, the Yankees from like 17 to 19. I know, yes, they didn't win the World Series. Obviously, that's the main goal, but I feel like they were built like they still could have, and you can put in the Astros argument, whatever you want to talk about. I don't care. They were built better. Like you look in 2019, it went LeMahieu, Judge, Gardner, Stanton. Can't memorize the whole lineup. They put in guys like they had more of a
they had a balanced
element, and it was like this lineup just.
No, it
sucks. Like it looks disgusting.
It doesn't suck, but we just all know it's not built right enough to beat a number one starter. A number one starter will strike these guys out, or we'll get 2 runs on a fleeting home run and lose 4-2.
I mean, it's just like it's so. Here's my thing. I feel like the Yankees are so predictable in their game so far. Like you look at today's game. You're like, all right, the Yankees don't have offense, but you just know they're going to lose the game. Like, you know that the more you go on and you're not scoring, the more the Orioles are going to get scrappy because they don't have to play for it. And we've seen that in the NHL, and everyone's like so shocked. I'm not shocked. I mean, you look at the Buffalo Sabres look fantastic because they're playing scrappy. Like, all right, we're down 2-0. Who cares? Like, they don't just give up, and that's an element that some playoff teams don't have. But you look at, like, here's this was starting lineup, game 1 of the ALCS. It was LeMahieu, Judge, Torres, Encarnacion, Stanton, Gardner, Sanchez, Urshela. I don't know. Wait, I feel like Gregorius is supposed to be in there. Yeah. And I think that's one of the worst losses for the Yankees ever. And some people might not believe that, but I didn't realize what he really brought to the lineup till he was gone. And he really
I think that
a lot.
I think he brought a lot behind the scenes as well, as far as inspiring his teammates to do a little better, which is underrated.
But we didn't even have like a star pitcher either. Like, we had to not, like, I just felt like I could buy in more to what those teams like in 17, 18, 19 were able to do than now. Like, now it's just like we have a bunch of guys who are getting paid a lot who don't perform, like, and I hate watching Joey Gallo. Like, it's embarrassing.
Well, let's move on. Let's not let the Yankees bring down what we're down to the wire. And for the Rangers, they're in the playoffs. Kreider's got his 50 goals. It's really no other landmarks. It's Sturkin another shutout, which really maybe helps him win that trophy, which I know matters to you. We still don't know who the playoff matchup is going to be. They draw even with Carolina, and I want you to tell the fans what you were so excited about last night. And I don't mean to be excited about injuries, but there is excitement when your opponent has a really tough loss. So give me a little bit about what happened last night in Carolina.
One, I feel like with the afternoon game they've had, the Rangers have like changed the narrative. Like, the Red Wings threw in Thomas Greiss, who was 6-0-1 against the Rangers in his career. Always dominant. We saw him earlier this year. They lost in the shootout. Yeah. They couldn't
possible trade target for the Rangers.
Yeah, and they just that stuff I feel like used to affect them maybe earlier in the season, not anymore. And they just came out with guts. Lafreniere scored one of the nicest goals I've seen in I don't know how long.
That was awesome.
Kakko's injured. I don't really care. I mean, it sucks, but like, I think
just scores 2 goals. Do we have any updates on how bad that injury is? I still only saw lower body.
Gallant said yesterday in the post game, he said doesn't look serious, but we're going to be cautious, which is
which means he won't play the rest of the
Yeah, like you have Gauthier, you have McKegg, like you have other people. They just look so locked in right now, and I don't know. I've never been as excited to watch any one of my teams and been more passionate because this is what we were waiting for. Like, this is what we were waiting for years, and it's just I don't know. I've had my moments with the Yankees, the Giants, even the Knicks, which people wouldn't believe, but they just keep coming through, and people still keep doubting them, which is funny. I guess that's a way to roll. But Carolina got spanked yesterday. Colorado. God, I hope I never have to ever see them.
Yeah, I hope they don't make it to the finals.
Nathan McKinnon just went through 5 Carolina players like it was nothing, and he skates. I mean, it's crazy. But Jordan Stahl, their captain, who they, believe it or not, maybe not offensively, he's picked it up now. They're very reliant on him. Like, they won't go anywhere in the playoffs if they don't have him. And he got up on his own. He got nailed by Cale Makar, which I didn't know that kid.
Concussion-like injury we were talking about, or
he
a body
looked
injury?
Concussed, like slowly, like he not like that. Yeah. But he went straight to the locker room, like and he looked slow. I feel like it looked like a concussion a little bit. He was hit high up in the chest area.
So we don't expect to see him Tuesday against the Rangers if it's a head injury. I would say no. Why?
I would think. I don't know. I think it's a head injury. His looked bad, not terrible though.
Yeah.
Frederick Anderson didn't look good. I mean, he couldn't skate. He had 2 people help him off the ice. And
have we seen any updates before the show?
Well, Rod Brindamore said in the post game, he's like, it doesn't look good. He's like, I don't know anything. It doesn't look good. And he's like, it's all part of a rough night for us. And well, that ended Frederick Anderson's chance of winning the Vezina. I mean, giving up 7 goals. His goals against average went up 10 points, and his save percentage dropped like dramatically. But that's huge for the Rangers. But the Canes have Arizona tomorrow, which will be light, and they still have Ronta. But the big thing is Ronta can't carry them throughout the playoffs like
I'm just reading a news article here. Stahl might be a lower body that his injury happened. Keep going. Sorry.
But I don't know. The Rangers look good. It's so competitive in the East. For me right now, it's just avoid playing Tampa. That's all. Like
that's funny. I was listening to WFAN this afternoon when I was working in the yard, and that was it. The consensus was just stay away from Tampa. Any other team?
Well, this is the same thing they did last year. Tampa's struggling near the end of the year, and they went and won the Stanley Cup. So they can do that. We know they can do that again.
Yeah.
But so far, 7 spots in the East are clinched and 3 in the West. The West now, who they have, they got Colorado, Calgary, and St. Louis are in the playoffs. Not really afraid of any of them besides Colorado.
Colorado scares me.
But like it's the West, it makes you wonder because the West is not as competitive as the East. The East, 10 of the 16 spots are taken. 7 of them belong to the East with one spot up for grabs. But
I've heard that so many years where one is lopsided, the other's lopsided, and then you totally get shocked. Also, when the thing that happens, like if the East is truly the better division this year and they beat each other up to get to the Stanley Cup, by the time the team that gets the Stanley Cup, they're worn down against maybe a strong seed on the other side that has cruised through the playoffs, and it's a huge advantage for the other side. But
well, the Rangers just got to keep the right things in mind. I feel like it's keep Shesterkin like rested and healthy for the playoffs. I think they got a power play goal yesterday, which is big. They got to get that back going. It slowed down a little bit. And
I feel like they still looked good on the power play with a couple bad ones in there, but
it's just sometimes they get away from what's good. Like early in the year, Fox would always take that point shot and look for just a little sifter to Kreider. Now they're trying to always
be too perfect.
Always go to Zibanejad
for that huge. Yeah, sometimes they get a little too cute, and they got to go back to just putting the puck on net, and then
because they have the skill, and it's just. I really want to put that emphasis on getting home ice.
What do you think of Keandre Miller? I feel like he's the last 2 weeks all of a sudden turned into he's been a star, like stands out, making huge plays in the last 2 weeks in multiple games. Like. I know he was a highly touted prospect, but I feel like, with Fox and all these other guys taking the scene, he has lit it up. And also,
He's big too. He
lit it up in Russia.
Well.
So maybe they could trade him this offseason and get something else.
Yeah, and it's just great to see. I just hope they will finish the year off consistent. But it's awesome watching every one of their games. In their last 5 games, they're 4-1-0, 3 shutouts. And it's just, I mean, and it's like they're doing.
Stinks. We got to wait till Tuesday.
Yeah, I hate the scheduling, like where it's like a game back to back, 3 days off, game, 3 days off. Like it's.
I think that's got to be one of the more difficult jobs, schedule making. I'm sure it's done by computers.
Yeah, but if they stay like this, I mean, I hope they play someone. If they end up playing like either Pittsburgh or Boston, I think I would definitely want to go to that first round matchup because that's I don't know. I'm just not. Boston doesn't look good, and they have Pasternak's injured, and it's just the Penguins look awful without Malkin, and they just.
Who would you get more? Who would you enjoy beating the most in the first round, regardless of? I mean, legitimate matchup considered. Like it can't be some random team that's not going to make it, but. Who would be the most
Carolina or Pittsburgh? I would get so much satisfaction from the Rangers.
Yeah, I like series. I like beating Pittsburgh or Washington anytime you can.
I hear all the Carolina drama down here, and it's always like
Carolina drama. You ever hear that song? It's terrific. There's a song called Carolina Drama. It's terrific. Jack White. Look it up.
Definitely touching on the Canes because it's
the Raconteurs.
here's my thing with the Canes. Like they're supposed to be powerhouse, so dominant. They run into at Colorado yesterday, and they're healthy. The Canes were healthy going into the game, and just get dominated. Like they can't stop their
It happens to everyone.
I know, but but when it happens to the best teams, that's where it's a little worried.
Yeah, you get
that's where
nervous.
you're worried because if you're not ready to come play, I don't know. I just think we're gonna learn about a lot of fraud teams come playoff time that we're
right out of the gate,
not that good. Because I mean, frankly, the league's lucky the Islanders aren't gonna make it. I think the Islanders are very underrated. I hate how they play hockey, but it works.
They also had the craziest start to the year with the arena. I think they started on the road for 1 million games.
And they'll be back in the playoffs next year.
They had a ton of guys on COVID. So believe me, I am not an Islander sympathizer. I'm glad to see them not in the playoffs, but I think they kind of got screwed in the beginning of the year.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I think it's a lot with the young guys too. Like if Philip Hedels looked really good, he's got 20-something points. Lafreniere's got 17 goals. And
that goal the other night, that's what a number 1 draft pick. That's a first round draft pick.
Here's my view that's different from Kakko. Even though Kakko had that 2-goal game, whatever, that's nice for him. But we haven't really like seen like those spurts from him that Lafreniere showing like he's gonna be good. Like where you just look at it and you're like,
if I was betting on either one, I definitely leaning on Lafreniere right now.
Absolutely, and
is that the T-shirt you're wearing, by the way?
Yeah, you can't really see. I can't turn around on the bench, but it's been a good luck shirt. I've worn a lot this like whole year, and they've been good. But the
Reg Giants shirt is winless this entire season.
I don't have any. I'm very superstitious.
Yeah, you're like Caroline. None of that means anything.
No, but I felt like when
you wearing a T-shirt has no say on whether someone catches the ball, drops the ball, trips, fumbles.
I know, but one of them happened.
I know, but that's your brain. That's your brain working in all crazy ways. There's no such thing as superstitions. Anyway,
I do it to a point though. I do it to a point though where I turn the vibrator off on my phone when the Rangers are. Right now, since
Caroline makes me sit in the same corner of the room if the Bears score a touchdown. It makes zero sense that what's happening on a football field in the middle of Illinois.
5 games.
Yeah,
I haven't shaved since. Not that there's much to see. It's just I haven't shaved since, and so I don't know. But
that's a good actually. You should text Caroline, not today, but when the playoffs start, say I made Uncle Joe promise that he wouldn't shave the entire playoffs because she'll be so frustrated if I come out with a giant beard like this. It'd be awesome. But it's good for the podcast.
Well, no, and if they keep winning, I mean, I'm like, why? I know it might not mean anything, but why change the habits and why they're doing so? You wake up, you do.
I believe it for the players. You feel good, you play good. For me and you, they don't know what we're doing. It has nothing to do with us. Me sitting in an uncomfortable seat is not going to happen because you think that's going to win. I'm not eating weird foods. I'm not wearing smelly socks. It's just not.
I do it too much for baseball. I got to cut down. It doesn't work for baseball.
It doesn't work for any sport.
And I go back to the same ones. Yet the Yankees haven't won the World Series yet. Yeah. So like I don't know why. But my last point with hockey is I want to ask you.
All right, final point.
With the weird setup for the schedule, it's going to be an odd configuration on what you like guys you want to give rest and who you want to start. So like you have a game Tuesday at home against Winnipeg, currently not a playoff team.
I thought Tuesday was Carolina. So all right.
Tuesday the 26th is Carolina.
Oh, the weekend.
So then 2 days, then you get back to normal. You got 2 days later, you have the Islanders.
Winnipeg is a Shesterkin start if you're asking me.
See, I agree. I think Winnipeg's Shesterkin, Islanders is Georgiev. Changed it up there. You've put Shesterkin in there a little bit. Yeah. They've lost a little bit. Not saying that means anything.
No, it's all about load management, not getting him. But you also
I do think Alexander Georgiev plays very well against the Islanders. I've noticed that in his couple years versus when like Lundqvist and Shesterkin played. I'm like it's.
I think the Rangers are past matchup. That Carolina game, if they win it, Then there's the decision, like how big is home field or home ice advantage. So it may change your decisions, but
you can't just sit Shesterkin though for like give him 2 weeks off. Like that's not.
Yeah, I don't think getting him ice cold before the playoffs is a good idea. Just to rest.
But I definitely agree that you have the game on Tuesday. I put Shesterkin in. Then you have the Islanders 2 days later. I put Georgiev in. Then you have the Bruins on the road that Saturday afternoon. Definitely a Shesterkin start.
Yeah, just get that feel in case you play Boston.
Yeah, and then 3 days later, we go back to that shifty.
You're going back to Shesterkin.
Yeah, for Carolina. Then the next day they play the Canadiens. Obvious Georgiev.
That's a Georgiev, yeah.
And then you have 2 days later on that Friday, you play at home against the Caps. So I think that's going to be up in the air. I think
that's exactly what the standings.
Whatever is in.
If you have a chance to take the first seed, you're starting Shesterkin. If you're locked into your seed, you're playing Georgiev, and you're taking actually a lot of guys out of the lineup to just heal their bodies.
Yeah. So, are you still going to a game though? I know you guys had that up in the air, but
no, they screwed up the schedule for the tickets. Yeah.
So they're not going to give you any tickets to any of the games left? I mean, you got 4 games left.
You never know. I'm not worried about it.
I would go to that if they do. I would take that Friday night, the last game of the year against the Capitals, or the Hurricanes game.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about it. I've had plenty of tickets in my life. More important, we'll get to me and you getting to a playoff game for both the Yankees and the Rangers. So, with that,
we're
going to bring it back. We're going to wrap it up. And we're going to get to that 50th podcast and then be ready for a relaunch. Maybe a little rebranding.
A little uptake.
Yeah, a little uptick.
I don't know if that's the right word.
Uptick.
I want to figure out how to put in like an Empire Stadium. Like I want to put some form of like song in for create a.
Not a topic for the public audience, but we will be able to figure that all out. I have the process for you. But till next time, Matty. Love you, buddy.
Love you too. See you guys.
Yeah.